Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Out on the show in March when Bernie just basically quit. And some staff, three people who worked on his staff, did basically wrote a article or column, whatever you want to call it, for Jacobin, which is a website I read. You should read it. It's like a socialist, democratic socialist website, and they do pretty solid stories. It's a lengthy story, so I'm just going to touch on some of the fine points here, and I'll put the link in the show notes for you to read it all the way through. But it's something we've asked. You know, what happened? Why didn't Bernie run a better campaign? Did the Democratic establishment, and there's some evidence to suggest this, put people in his campaign that had worked on other big, corporate Democrat campaigns, so they probably deliberately were, giving Bernie bad advice. But ultimately, it did come down to him. It was his campaign, and it didn't make sense to me because I sit here and I look around what's happening in this country. 5-6 weeks of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protests, and which is good. It's waking people up. People are getting more involved. Change is happening, and there's obviously a lot of resistance to that change. But imagine if Bernie was the nominee. Imagine if Bernie was the nominee right now. He'd be uniting the country. Would there be, a handful of wingnuts and red state Second Amendment people? Oh, Bernie's an evil socialist. No, sure. But he would go campaign down there and say, look, I'm going to give you health care. I'm going to get, we're going to take care of all this. I'm going to give you UBI. I'm going to do all these, and would point out all the ways that Trump has failed. Rather than just say Trump's bad, he's awful, he would point out all the but so we're going to get into it from these three folks. We worked on Bernie, on the Bernie campaign. More democracy would have made it more effective. These are the three: Mia Arovich, Simon Narode, and Ben Mora. These are the three folks. Three former Bernie Sanders field organizers argue that the campaign's internal structures and lack of accountability hurt its chances and undermine Bernie's theory of political change. And they go into a little bit, but again, I'm going to just preface this video by saying I'm glad these people are coming forward, but you can't. So what the internal problems? Sure. Absolutely. Let's talk about all of it, but let's talk about all of it. Let's talk about the shadow app. Let's talk about purged voter rolls. Let's talk about he should have crushed in California. And there was literally Fiorella from Convo Couch and Pasta from Convo Couch showed that they were getting rid. There's voter fraud. I've talked about this, that Super Tuesday that, Joe Biden's momentum. Huh? What? Exit poll after exit poll after exit poll showed Bernie Sanders in double-digit victories. And weird Biden wins? All in districts and counties or whatever, and precincts that had electric voting machines that have been proven to be hackable, like back in 2006. Everyone keeps kind of, keeps pretending like that's not that big of a deal. It's a massive deal. And AOC won't call it out. Bernie wouldn't even call it out. Tulsi kind of called it out. That's the thing I liked about her when she was running, and then she just quit. So everyone's screaming how awful Trump is, and Trump is awful. He's scary. He's dog whistling, fascists and white nationalists, and he's awful. But I'm sorry, you can't just, Democrats aren't perfect. No. They helped allow Trump to happen. In Hillary Clinton's emails, she said, in the leaked emails, the Podesta emails, we want to run against Trump. He's so easily beatable. And then she couldn't even beat him because she was too busy going to big $10,000 a plate fundraisers while Trump actually campaigned. She didn't campaign in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Had she just done that, right? No one wants to hold the Democratic Party accountable. And when I do it on this show, people call me, neoliberals call me up and say, Graham, stop doing that. They literally blame the messenger. Well, here's some more people. Here's some more messengers to blame. We built a multiracial, multi-generational campaign of working people united under a common struggle for human dignity. And that is so true. I went to Bernie rallies, many in California. I went to one in Iowa. His staff came to so many shows that Ron and I did the Progressive Comedy Tour. And I want to specifically talk about the Iowa City one. That's a college town. Iowa's a pretty white state. It's a pretty white college, University of Iowa. And it was still more diverse in Iowa than I've ever seen. And all these different, and the Bernie staff that came to our show and set up a table, these are really sincere, hardworking people of all ethnicities and all backgrounds, really wanting change. His message resonated with the most people. That's why that's why it just doesn't add up. You can't be crushing in all these polls, even in the exit polls. And the UN said, when you have double-digit exit poll victories and the other person wins, that reeks of election fraud. The UN said this. And I saw these massive rallies. He outraised everybody. It's just not possible. Nobody was excited about Joe Biden. Nobody. How could he win? How could that happen? Like, it's just completely rigged. It's completely rigged. We all witnessed our fellow organizers, volunteers, and ourselves commit everything to further this cause. Again, I've met so many field organizers here in California and all over the country, really like solid, hardworking progressives that felt like this was and I talked about it on the show, man. I was cautiously optimistic, like maybe. From the mired Iowa caucus results to the DNC consolidation behind Joe Biden before Super Tuesday to rampant bad faith smears from the corporate media. And cheating. And open cheating. And if Trump were to win this November, the Democratic Party would probably be screaming about election fraud, and they probably would be right. But you can't just scream about election fraud from the other party and not call out your own. It's just like, hey, you cheated better than I did. I mean, hey, you can't cheat in the general election. You can only cheat in the primary the way we do. We cheat progressives in the primary. You can't cheat at regular people. It's so bad. The reason we have Trump is the failure of the Democratic Party, the Democratic establishment, and people that register to vote as Democrat and call themselves liberal or Democrat or whatever won't wake up to this. They refuse to call this out. And then they turn around and say these Trump supporters are crazy and won't call. Yes, those Trump supporters that say he never lies, that blame 9/11 on Obama, those people are nuts. They're out of their minds. I don't know what they've been doing, just drinking lead water or smelling paint fumes or what? I don't know what they're doing. But how are you less crazy because you won't acknowledge the Democrat Party crimes? You won't do it. That the campaign leadership failed to implement more democratic structures of accountability and feedback was a disservice to this base and to Sanders' mission. When I read this, I got to be honest with you, I keep going. Like when it all went south in March, when Bernie, that March 15th debate, where that was his chance. Everything was that was the first weekend of everything getting shut down in America because of COVID. And I was like, this is where he's going to crush Joe. This is he's seizing this moment, and he just wouldn't do it. I have a hard time not at least asking the question, was his whole 2020 campaign just designed to sheep herd all of us progressives and people on the left and working class people to just follow this guy, knowing he was just going to nosedive the whole campaign? Knowing that was just going to happen. Because again, all these protests that have been going on since the last week of May, since George Floyd was murdered by the Minneapolis Police Department, if Bernie was like the nominee or the front runner or whatever, people would be like Bernie. Because I've seen zero, and I mean zero, Joe Biden stickers at any protest in here in California and Los Angeles. Zero. And I don't know anybody that's seen one. I've seen some fuck Trump shirts. I've even seen some like Bernie stickers on cars and whatever, like, oh, I was a Bernie supporter, but now he quit. So people would be rallying around this guy. And it would be like, this is the guy to beat Trump. This is the guy that's going to do it. This is the guy that's going to restore dignity to the White House. I would actually believe that. This is the guy. Joe Biden's not going to restore dignity. He's going to keep bombing 7 countries. This is the guy that's going to defund the police. Joe Biden said he won't defund the police. This is the guy that's going to give us Medicare for all and student debt forgiveness and cut the military budget in half and bring back the pandemic task force that Trump got rid of 2 years ago. and give everybody free health care. So the next time when COVID spikes again or another pandemic happens, we're prepared. That's all he'd be running. I mean, who would vote against that? He would be crushing. It would be over. But he quit. He took all that money. Bernie and Tulsi, I donated to both their campaigns. They owe me money. I donated to Mike Gravel's campaign. I'm glad to do it. He doesn't owe me a penny. A lack of transparency in strategy kept what should have been a dynamic process from the bottom up into a static one with predetermined goals and little consultation with those on the ground. That, to me, sounds like it was set up that way. Not that it was like, oh, we miscalculated. Like, and I'm not saying these people rating this are liars or giving her Jacobins full of shit. I'm not saying that. This is just my opinion when I read this. It sounds to me a lot like it wasn't like, oh, we like a football team that just made bad strategy at the half and we just didn't calculate at the halftime, right? This sounds like we went, no. The whole point is to get all these progressives and all these lefties together, get them all in one place so they don't go anywhere else. Bernie refused to go third party after 2016. Tulsi refused. Everybody refused to start their own third party. They refused. So you cannot reform the Democratic Party from within because this was just predetermined goals and little consultation with those on the ground. People like me at this show, Jimmy Dore, Convo Couch, Ron Placome, Tim Black, Nico House, Kim Iverson, all of us, Abby Martin, Mike Preisner, we're like, why isn't he doing more? Why isn't he fighting harder in the debates? We'd see these little glimmers last summer. I wrote the damn bill and we go, okay, here we go. Bernie's going to start slam dunking on these people. And then he wouldn't. They didn't look at how Trump got elected. People... So either it was just a complete blunder or it was by design. Because if they listened to people on the ground, just back up a sec here. 5 years ago, 2015, when the primary started for the 2016 election, people always forget Trump blew up the Republican Party. And I watched some of those debates, those Republican debates. He blew up, and remember, he said something and he's like, oh, he got booed by the crowd at a Republican primary debate. And he said, these people are all paid by the Republican Party to boo me, which is true. And that was true. The DNC did that to Bernie, but he would say it like after the debate in an interview. He wouldn't say it on the debate stage when tens of millions of people were watching. March 15th, man, that was it. He had all these, we kept going, when is he going to fight harder? When is he going to fight harder? When Joe Biden would just categorically lie and say, Bernie's plan costs $35 trillion. He won't tell you how much it costs. Where's Bernie going to pay for it? Why didn't Bernie go, I'll tell you we're going to pay for it, how we're going to pay for it. When the journalists who work for the big networks that get ad money from the big pharmaceutical companies, like literally they would ask these loaded questions about Bernie's Medicare for All plan, which, by the way, everybody wants now after the COVID started. Haven't heard any since March. I haven't heard any. How are we going to pay for it? Everyone's like, we need free healthcare. This is bullshit. Bernie didn't fight. He didn't do it. So it just seemed like the whole thing was orchestrated. If grassroots campaigns are to remain true to their origins, the shortcomings of the Bernie model may very well warrant a reassessment of internal democracy and campaign structures at large. I'll tell you the reassessment. Get the fuck out of the Democratic Party. It is impossible. You cannot reform that party from within. It is impossible. It is impossible. Ultimately, the experienced and well-paid senior advisors did not understand what we were up against. We did. I would argue they did know what they were up against. They did it intentionally. They did it intentionally. This was a long con. Hats off to these three people. I'm not calling them liars or part of it or anything like that. I'm just telling you that it seemed a little more orchestrated than like bumbling strategy. It just seemed a little more. That's just my opinion, but it just seemed a little more when you have these people who worked in the campaign, who high up, who worked on other corporate Democratic campaigns. They got instruction to say, make sure Bernie just doesn't. And Bernie went along with it. And sure, the changes that need to take place in this country are going to take way more than just electoral politics. And I'm not sitting here like, oh, Bernie was going to save us all. But he could have won. We all could have rallied behind him. And instead, you've got everybody backing Joe Biden, who is a joke, who's a rapist with dementia, who nobody's inspired by. It's just more this lesser of two evil stuff. So, hey, I hope Biden wins in November and Trump's out of there, and then what? Biden won't defund the police. He won't stop bombing 7 countries. He won't stop the sanctions like we're doing currently to Iran and Venezuela and other countries. We're sanctioning countries in the middle of a pandemic. Joe Biden said he's going to tell cops to shoot people in the leg. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. These are all quotes of Joe Biden, but get mad at me for just repeating what Joe Biden said. Thank you, neoliberals. Blame me for telling people. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, Biden does some awful things, but I'm not going to say that publicly. What? AOC won't call out the corruption of Pelosi and them. You cannot reform this party from within. I've said this time and time. It is literally like if I'm going to join a drug cartel and I'm going to get them to stop selling drugs and start selling vegan smoothies. I know I can do it. And when they say, Graham, we're not going to sell vegan smoothies, but we'll just make our cocaine a little more organic. And then I go, see, we got a victory. Organic heroin. That's the Democratic Party. That's the reforms you get from the Democratic Party. And I don't know why Nina Turner's still in that party. I really don't. She needs to leave that party. I don't know why she's in that party. She seems like way more ethical. If Bernie, the squad, Nina, Tulsi all left, we would all rally behind them. All of us would. But they're not going to. That's why we got to take to the streets. That's why we got to just shut stuff down. That's why we got to say no. We got to resist. Because the Democratic Party cannot be. Because even if these progressives that are winning some of these primaries, that's great. Look what happened in New York. All right, great. And when they get sworn into Congress or the Senate, then what? Because someone's going to sit them down, Schumer, Nancy. Someone's going to sit them down and go, you need to start playing ball. It's about maybe 14 months before AOC just started playing ball. She was calling them out early. It was like, oh, wow, this is big. Here we go. She'll play ball. Everybody ends up playing ball inside that party because it's utterly corrupt. You can't reform a thing that is inherently corrupt. You need to circumvent it. You need a terminal bypass of those two utterly corrupt parties, to quote Dylan Radigan. Thanks for watching, folks. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boom. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.